Test. Can you guys hear me?
His name.
Unless Jewett is in it.
You're unmuted now.
I don't think so.
Omar started a. Oops.
Okay, muted.
I looked at a couple of them. Trying
Get off.
to get to the rest of them the next day or two.
I'll cut Friday. I'm tired.
Got him on.
Just to.
In a hurry.
Hey, Craig Langford, you're in the seat of honor. You better do that chair
The guy
justice.
that tried to get on.
We're like that though, then. I wake up in the morning, it's just like this without like
Quit Walmart.
spritz water. It does not work.
It's Fanny.
Yeah.
Peggy moving on down, man.
Moved up a seat today.
That is
we
a
used to sit
seat
next
of,
to each other
that is
the
a
whole
seat of
time.
honor, and you better do it
I
justice.
don't know what I did.
John.
Here's your money.
Alan and Sam are both on here.
This is old Wi-Fi.
Dude, they're gonna charge this thing. Let them stay cold.
It's a fun evening.
Crushed to McDouble.
Oh, so disruptive. I did leave it in there.
What's the word on the?
No, come on. Come here. You don't think I'm done.
Oh, okay. Text you earlier, see if we. Wasn't that bad.
Mine went down.
Oh, okay.
Oh, man, I didn't even get that. Yeah, stay with us.
Not on me, no, sir. Miss, but she's out. Tickets on long distance, she's on.
It wasn't cold.
Added a little bit.
That's what's here.
Good vacation.
No, she-
I wonder why.
Stomach bug is going around the apartment. Okay. All the things that were. Like, well, we were gonna come, you know, separate times. No,
No.
keep that germ away.
Dealing with this, I don't need.
That's super contagious ickiness, so.
Don't need nothing else. Not a friend.
Here. Because all, it doesn't work good. I'm colorblind. Yeah, but I mean, I can see certain things, but.
I know.
Yeah, Alan and different stuff.
Different.
Oh, I forgot about that. They both have a left, I'm wondering.
Well, no, I don't. No, was I supposed to read today?
It's not here, dadgummit.
You can stop by anytime. Oh, you got your thing. You know what? I think they'll just,
Let's you got the seat of honor tonight.
Go
I did.
Tony,
I got
but-
it.
Any quicker.
Let's bring it next.
Is he on the?
feel free to drive. Feel free to be driving by.
Or have it notarized. It's not here to notarize, so. We have notaries in the building. I know.
Forgot it. Yep, I never.
Just saw your message.
And
Just taking notes tonight.
I'll sit and down. Actual minutes. And
Actual meeting, all of them. I'll be writing the minutes.
She's got good things gonna happen.
Who's on attendance?
She said.
Never mind, Sam is writing the minutes from.
Who's on attendance?
My taxes.
We're gonna go ahead and get started this evening.
I already did.
We'll get started with the City of Centerton Planning Commission meeting, January 7th, 2025, with the roll call.
Brandon Swoboda.
Here.
Tony Davis.
Here.
Ben Lewis.
Here.
John Sessoms,
I'm here.
Craig Langford,
Here.
Devin Murphy. Joey Engel
We're doing this.
and Jeff Safar.
Here.
Great.
No, we'll do. Happy New Year. And as you could tell, John is remote this evening. And so the first thing on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from our meeting of 12/17 of 2024.
Joey, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 17th of 24.
Motion and a second. Is anyone opposed? All right, for old business this evening, we have an update from the proposed Title 15. I want to jump in and give us an overview update. How do you want, is that okay?
Is it best if we go to?
Yeah, because then they can hear you in the microphone. You guys should have copies on your area.
So my name is Derek Lynn. I'm with Arbor and we're gonna walk through these latest updates. Picking up where we left off the last meeting with the holidays. We got as far as we could since the last meeting. There are, as you can see, on the cover here, it has a green check. That means the planning department is in agreement with the comments, or it's very straightforward and been addressed. If it is the blue hammer, we're working on it, planning is working on it, and revised language, method. Still helpful comments, but it's still under research with the update coming soon. And then with the last symbol that's kind of the red color, these are items that staff thought it'd be helpful to get the commission's input on. So we'll go ahead and walk through those.
Mine's black and white, so I'll do my best to keep up.
What's that?
Mine's black and white. I'll do my best to keep up.
He's colorblind.
Hey, we have.
Sorry, we're cheap. Pass it down, please.
He's not. I just made that up.
We got.
I was just complaining because I really am.
Or
Black and
don't
white.
need any more. Those are all colored.
I wouldn't make too much stuff up. I don't
Uh,
I blame it staff, but they've had a bad day, so I'm gonna be nice.
All right, we're cheap.
Thank you.
So I think. There, like on the first page, we've got all green checks. So would you like for us to just go until we get, would you like for me to speak to the green checks or skip until we get one that's not a green check?
I think let's go to where you need some input or discussion. Unless anybody has any questions. I mean,
That'll take us to the next page. It's got midway down, it's got a number 4. It says page 32, H construction permit. So I'll just briefly read this. This is a section of the draft code that says after completion of the pre-construction meeting procedures, the applicant may commence with site disturbance and construction only upon receipt of a construction permit and official pre-con meeting notes as issued by the planning director or designee. And you can see there in red, I won't read all of that, but that was feedback received from the public works director in red. And then after taking a deeper look at this, in blue is the response from planning, and that is that a mechanism of some sort is needed to make sure that construction of these planning applications occurs in the correct order of operations. That includes pre-cons clearing, making sure the sites aren't getting mass graded before they have all those things mapped out, approved construction plans, pre-con, etc. However, we agree that it does not need to be a permit. So the below edits have been suggested and made to utilize a notice to proceed, which can be a quick memo along with those pre-con minutes to help clarify that milestone. And you can see there in the next section, the number 6, the letter H, and the letter I. Those are places, not the letter I, but just 6 and H. Those are places where the notice to proceed has been inserted as part of that process. And then through a chat with the public works director, the additions and the edits in green have been made even as of today. So basically the way it would read, to try to clarify that, the city of Centerton grading and erosion control and floodplain permits as applicable would be applied for and reviewed by the city. And then letter H, a notice to proceed. After completion of the above pre-con meeting procedures, the applicant may commence site disturbance and construction only upon receiving official pre-con meeting notes and a notice to proceed as issued by the city planning department. So I think essentially staff is, staff add in here anything that I'm missing, but, this is kind of where it's landed thus far. I just want to see if the planning commission has any questions or wants to add anything to this.
I know Bill also wants to have us meet with Public Works to see if this resolves the issue or not.
Seems like a good compromise to me,
Yeah, I don't know why I wouldn't.
if everybody's okay with it.
And say I haven't seen any of this stuff before. Because I haven't been in today, unfortunately. Looks like again the notes proceed is just another letter that goes with the pre-con notes. There was something, I'm not sure if it was here or a different section where it mentioned cutting of trees. The pre-con really can't have anything to do with that. As like a homeowner, you don't have to get a permit from us to cut a tree. So there's no difference between a homeowner and someone that owns 40 acres cutting any trees. The landscaping ordinance will dictate a lot of that with the clearing of trees. And that can be done at any time.
Alan Crockett, city engineer, he's on Zoom.
Where does it say anything about cutting trees or?
Or something within the blue notes. I'm not sure where.
Pre-con clearing, etc. I think these are only for items that were have a planning application attached, so like if you owned a single family home and you're just cutting a tree in your yard, then that's not related to a planning application.
But the same rights go to someone who owns 40 acres of land.
Well, but this is in the subdivision code.
You can't stop someone from cutting down trees.
I don't think we are.
Part of that says you can't do
This
any
is
of
under a
that.
construction permit. Alan, how many developments come in and ask for early grading?
Early grading, some of them, what they're always told is all they can do is bring material on, do their BMPs. If they want to do any tree cutting, they can, because that's their right as the property owner.
Yeah, and I'm wondering where this interferes with that.
Where the notes go is stops them from doing any kind of clearing. That was the intent from in the blue with the planning. There you go. So it's that blue in there where it says including pre-con and clearing, et cetera.
Disturbance. Same thing? Yeah.
And our new code has a lot of emphasis on landscape plans and tree preservation. So if we have an emphasis on that, don't want people clearing their site before their landscaping plans.
Well, I'm actually with Alan on this one, right?
But like the landscaping plan, there's benefits for keeping all those trees.
Correct. There's gonna be a lot of times where they're not keeping a lot of trees, right? But then there's also gonna be times where they are keeping trees, so it's their responsibility to protect the trees that they're keeping, and if they can't protect those, then they'll have to mitigate them with new landscaping per the code. So I think that kind of goes to staff, I think, at the final, to make sure that what they said they kept, they kept. I think I understand the intent, but there's quite a bit of development that's gonna want an early grading permit, you know? And I don't know if the intent of this is to limit that or not.
We were less concerned with the clearing of the site, the part of it, and more concerned with the fact that a clearing and grading permit or a clearing and grubbing permit gets issued and then they start mass grading anyways without their permit
Right.
saying that. And
Right.
right now our only mechanism for construction starting is a grading permit. So if they issue their grading permit and say it's clearing and grubbing, they don't enforce.
So this isn't keeping them from getting a grading permit though, right?
Not a clearing and grubbing permit, no.
Okay.
'Cause I don't think that's the intent.
They're covered somewhere else, right?
The whole thing seems superfluous. It's the same thing as here's your pre-con, and here's your pre-con notes.
Hasn't there been issues with staff? You can help me with this, but I think there's been issues with whether it's called an early grading permit or a clearing and grubbing, something being issued. And then things progressing well beyond that.
Yes.
And then things are pending with other agencies such as ADH, and then Hillside can get cut into, but it was really needing to be
And not all of the
intended for
planning
something
comments
else.
had been addressed prior to the issuance of the permit for cleaning, grubbing, and then stockpiling dirt. They started cutting in roads, cut down all of the trees, even though there were some that were supposed to be preserved.
Are we dealing with this on Main right now? No. On that corner, didn't they start moving dirt or something without a,
They put some rocks in.
I thought they did something prior to them being able to or something like that.
They put some rocks, they put a few rocks in. But it all went away pretty quick.
So I don't know, I guess it's up for discussion. If we think it's best to limit it all to pre-con, if you have an application, a large scale or plat application, then I guess that's what we need to talk about. Is that the whole purpose of this? Because you said you want to make sure that you follow the order of operations. What other order of operations are there other than the early clearing?
You gotta do your BMPs first and foremost.
I think,
So you gotta, is there a BMP check?
well, I think there's a whole section, right, on grading permits that's in
Title 16.
in Title 16. That lists specific things that they have to have,
Mhm.
like plans and things.
Yeah.
And so I think if they have that, then they're good to go, but sounds like y'all have had issues with people doing more than that, like putting.
Yeah.
So who enforces that? Who's?
Be the site inspectors, and I know the only issue I know is getting conflicting information for people who didn't issue the permits. I mean, as long as they're the ones talking about what they can do and everything goes through them, it shouldn't be an issue. They're the only ones that issue grading permits for that to pre-start construction. Before they do anything, they have to have all the BMPs in and approved on site with that, which all those already have plans because that shows how your BMPs are installed.
Or a check would be a stop work order, right, if they failed, if they tried to progress further along than what they're supposed to. Do we have the ability for the staff to issue a stop work order?
Be Public Works.
Yeah, right now, because it's the grading permit and Public Works handles the grading permits.
Right.
They have control over issuing stop works for grading.
Yeah.
And that's part of the issue is that they're letting them progress even though they're doing more than they should be. Telling us it's not our issue.
Sounds like we need to talk to Public Works then.
Yeah, I was thinking, say, it's. Sounds like she's not utilizing the authority. If somebody's doing something above and beyond this code.
What would this accomplish?
Gives a little more power to us to also enforce it.
It kind of I think it kind of levels the playing field a little bit, says, hey, let's get everybody to the pre-con table, make sure all departments are on the same page, make sure we have a construction set that has been approved by all the departments,
Right.
and then let's start.
Well, we just said that you can have a grading permit before that.
Clearing and grubbing permits, they're two
Clearing and
separate two separate permits. It's an important-
So I don't know that it actually accomplishes that. Right? I mean, this seems more like a deal that we need to talk to Public Works and everybody needs to be on the same page about what's expected, what's not, what they can do, can't do. And because it's put us in situations before that weren't pleasant. But I'm all for the planning staff having the authority to stop that construction activity. So I don't know how we do that. And if this is the option, then would it just be simpler to say that? Because to me, this language is a little ambiguous. You know, about site disturbance, and I understand the construction only upon receiving official pre-con notice. And a notice to proceed.
We have been told that we are not allowed to put in a stop.
It
work.
sounds like an internal discussion. So maybe we do that separately at another meeting.
Title 16. It says that they're supposed to have agreement from the other departments right before they issue that.
Yeah, I think it does.
I don't remember.
Maybe the changes that need to be made are, maybe there need to be some, the Title 16 piece.
Yeah.
Clarify what that applies to, and if it oversteps into, you know, something that needs to be covered with construction plans and not just the grading permit.
Mhm.
Maybe it's as simple as listing out what you can and can't do, like, assume we're not doing undercut for roads, anything that requires an inspection probably shouldn't be allowed during a clearing and grubbing permit, right? Maybe it's that simple.
And nothing that has an inspections approved for that. The only difference was information was given to other people, to a contractor giving them permission to do additional work on one, and that went to every contractor at one point. But that's stopped. So that's not really a big concern.
I mean, I don't know every construction project that this has been a problem on. Obviously, we know the one really well, and they cleared the whole site when they're supposed to save the trees. But is this a common of an issue, is this?
There's another project in the same area that did the same thing.
And there were more in previous years prior to the current public works director and our city engineer.
It does, I will say, kind of all that aside, whatever it's decided that it dictates or not, it does seem to me like right now they're doing like pre-con with minutes or something, or notes. It does seem like it would be not a terrible idea, and I know a lot of jurisdictions do this, where you do issue an official notice to proceed. And this is separate from like whatever it covers. But I think that's not a bad
I don't know.
thing to issue that, and I think it's pretty standard in a lot of communities. That makes sense.
I guess the deal is if that notice to proceed is planning department's hammer, so to speak, then they won't have that on a clearing and grubbing permit. It'll only come with the pre-con. Right? I don't think we're trying to deal with this construction activity up front. And more so than the stuff after the pre-con. That's what I'm getting from this conversation. But I don't think the notice to proceed is a bad idea. Post it on your SWIP board. Yeah. What do we want to do on this one?
Do we need to take a closer look at 16 to see what all has to be in place for
Yes.
that initial one issued, and then help us inform the language of this section possibly?
I think
Yes,
so.
I think so.
Cause I feel like that might be helpful. Ready to go to the next one?
Yes.
Okay. So moving to the next page, these start the comments from the city engineer, who is, on the virtual part of the meeting. And the first one is in regard to the section 150117 dust mitigation. You can see there in black, the comment that was provided, a suggestion to put this in a different title of the code. Essentially, planning on this is saying overall, the goal here was just to make sure that dust mitigation is handled during construction. This being like, you know, a large site is under construction, and a lot of dirt's being moved, it's dry, it's August, and dust is flying off and harming neighbors and that sort of thing. It goes on to say it was added here in 15 since 15 is currently being edited, really as an efficiency. See below revised language, which points the enforcement mechanism back to Title 16, which was referenced. And I do kind of feel like this is, I'm hoping this is a good compromise here. So basically what it says now is permitted development shall be conducted in a manner that generally keeps dust, dirt, and other debris on the project site in accordance with applicable BMPs, best management practices. The enforcement of dust mitigation BMPs shall be administered as provided within Title 16. There's already a section there that talks about how enforcement is handled in that referenced number. And then it goes on to say BMP mitigation techniques, including any or all of the following, may be required by the city to achieve dust mitigation compliance. And it gives examples A through C right there.
You can note if we end up needing to amend Title 16 anyway, for the grading permit stuff, and we just move it there now, if you're gonna have.
Is this different than what's in Title 16 right now?
Anything for dust mitigation in Title 16?
Oh, I got you.
That was the concern, is just getting it fine in general, since this is a title where.
Okay. And I think that can go either way if you're messing with 16, but
Alan, anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's updates need to be to 16, make updates to them every other year or whatever. But there's nothing on dust mitigation, but these are your design standards, Title 15. Dust mitigation isn't a design standard. You're just gonna do a blanket note on the erosion control plan that says we'll spray water if dry or something like that. That doesn't give you anything that they're looking for. It's just, again, not where it would need to go. There's no point putting a design standard with a construction practice in the same title.
Title 15 is not just design standards, it's subdivision and development regulations.
Which impact the design and the plans. It's not a on-field construction.
you're not doing anything different. You're making light of it. So it's one document that's more inclusive of all the requirements.
My recommendation is we leave it here with the adjusted language. If we wait on 16, it could be a year. I mean, we don't always get in a hurry on some of these. So I prefer to have something here sooner than later that we can at least rely on and then move it over into 16.
I'm gonna go ahead and flip to the next page. In the middle of it, so this is number 3, 150404 preliminary plat H. This is actually the city engineers comments that are virtually the same that we just discussed previously from the public works. And so I think we can just put a hold on that, unless there's more discussion that's needed on that. The reason we printed it here is just for clarification, and so it can be seen that you made that comment as well, and that there's the same status on it.
Okay.
So that was a repeat comment. Okay, number 4, 150503 D6. don't include a width. Okay, this is talking about, and if you flip to the next page, you can see where this is coming from. This is a standard on entrance drive widths and, it's saying essentially, in addition to the standards that are already in chapter 905 driveway and driveway approaches of the municipal code, that commercial entrance drives shall be designed and built to a minimum of 24 feet wide drivable surface measured from face of curb for two-way traffic. However, the larger widths may be required by staff. So that is printed and that I just read, that is the revised, and now if we go back to the previous page, there was the suggestion here to leave it open and don't include a width at all. But planning feedback here in response to that was that there at least is clarification that is needed on whether you're measuring this from the front of the curb or the back of the curb. And to allow the flexibility for the engineer and the planning commission to make determinations on 24, 26, and 30. We have revised as follows, and that's that section in black that I just read a minute ago. So that at least the city engineer was saying the lowest number that he mentioned was 24. So that's the point of putting it at a minimum of 24, but just clarifying that it's to be as a drivable surface and not measured from the back of the curb, which leaves you with drivable surface.
Okay.
And we previously had it at 30 feet. And that's when Ellen made the comment to, well, it could be 24, it could be 26, that could be acceptable. So.
Okay. You all good with that? Good.
Okay, and we've got 3 green checks, and then the next one for discussion, we've got a number 8. This is in regards to the certificate of development compliance. You can see the rest of the comment there in black. Planning says that the planning and the community need this mechanism in place to ensure conformance and proper order of operations with planning and development applications. Again, this is just a milestone if it's a planning and development application in that process. Therefore, the subdivision and development code is providing for it, and there's multiple excerpts of where it is. It's defined in the definitions. I just snipped this as an example. For example, through the development final application, it would be provided, and approval of the application and receipt of a certificate of development compliance would be needed prior to a C of O. That's just communicating that they've truly built the parking lot, the drainage, that all that site stuff has actually been implemented like the planning commission expected it to be implemented before they get their C of O.
I feel your pain on this one and I like it.
This is especially with for developments, you know, at the end, we have a lot of paperwork that needs to be turned in and make sure we have all our digitals and whatnot, our bonds, it's all done. And then we get to the point where they're like, we're done. And we're like, no, you're not. And the building's like, can you issue a C of O? Are we good? And so having this to be like, bam, you're good.
Is it gonna list everything that's needed?
This is more like, this is your final flag. You've completed all of your requirements for planning process. You're good to go. So the
Sure.
building knows they've been released from us.
So that list is available though, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like this one. I understand.
We're in agreement with the team.
Sounds good. Yeah, because once C of O goes there, I mean, that's.
You're never getting anything after that.
We feel the pain.
Okay, the next one, number 9, 150702 B6B equals question mark. Okay, so I think that this was, I think that the city engineer can clarify here if I'm not understanding correctly, but I think that it was just kind of like, what is this section about? And so what we have done here is just in blue, we've just stated that this section that will look is on the next page. This is providing that improvements that are required, will still be provided, but outside of the AR dot right of way, such as trees. In cases where AR dot does not agree to permit a city required improvement. And so if you look at that section on the next page, number 6, state highways. It says, you know, the developer is required to review these things that it mentions in the paragraph. And then in letter A, any improvements required by the planning commission within the state right of way shall be coordinated, i.e. permitted with AR dot. However, then letter B, in those cases where AR dot does not agree to offer those permits, then a city then right outside of that right of way is where it would be appropriate to do that provision. Not ideal, but kind of just the next best location.
Happens with street trees all the time.
Mhm.
Where do they put them? Yeah, put them inside the.
They argue that they don't have to put them in all. So if they can't put them in there, then they have to make sure that they have room to accommodate requirements on design standards on their site. So they need 5 feet for trees. Stuff like that.
We've also seen when this was sidewalk.
Yes.
Right,
With a clear zone for RDOT.
which was a new one recently.
We're okay with that one too.
Further on that page, there's 2 more green checks, and then we're really getting close to the end now, because on the very last page. You see 2 green checks, and you also see a couple of the other symbol, the hammer under construction symbol. And I'll just say in a nutshell, we're really optimistic about these comments received from the utility department. There's feedback about how can we make sure that the expectations with the master street plan, where it shows that pedestrian accommodation, street trees, those kind of things that make it a more livable, walkable community can be provided, but also reduce conflict with our underground utilities, which are also essential. And so we are working with the planners here at the city, as well as the water and wastewater team at Carver on some updated standards that we'll circle back with that we think can help mitigate and further clarify how we can have some win-win solutions there.
That it?
That's all that I have. Do you have anything to add?
No, on those, so I think you saw their comments, but like figuring out what appropriate spacing would be, and they, we want to talk to the utilities department more, but spacing might differ, is going to differ depending on whether it's, water, sewer, and then what material even, the pipes may be. But just make sure that we're getting something that is appropriate, but still allows for, the landscaping as well.
Considering depth of the pipes as well. So
Typically, it's just trees they don't want, and different cities have different buffers, right? But those 5 feet.
There's a lot of places where you have that utility corridor across the front of every lot. And
Sure.
so we don't want to include all trees from that, right?
Where they have to, just like the RDOT stuff, or they have to find somewhere on their site to accommodate.
How long do you guys want before you come back?
Trying to get it through. So we
Yeah.
have the next January meeting, and then we have the first meeting in February. So that hopefully between those 2 meetings, we'll be able to get it approved. Before-
Do we have to do any public hearing on this? I know we've discussed it a handful of times now.
Already had one. Do we have to have another?
I don't know.
What did we do? We just tabled it?
We had the public hearing, and then, I think.
I think it depends on the status of what we did. If we tabled it, we should be okay.
I think we tabled it.
I don't think anybody came to.
No, there were no comments.
Yeah, there was no public input. I didn't see where we tabled it in
I don't
the.
remember what we did.
Got the,
We didn't table it.
we didn't,
Whatever.
Public hearing.
there was no,
The public hearing would be separate from the
I
action.
thought it was just informational, just informational.
Yeah.
Here's our draft.
I don't think we took action on it.
no, there was no action taken.
Because it wasn't, we knew we weren't gonna,
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, so long as we're not taking action, I don't think we need a hearing, but I mean, I guess the intent is what? Do we think we're gonna be there next month? I mean, are we gonna have everything done, or did you wanna finalize and then make it an action item for March?
and I'm good with that. I
Okay.
mean, it's an additional 2 weeks or 2.5, 3 weeks. I get that, but we can have the final discussion if we want to call it that next time. Just to make sure that everything's ironed out, and then we could plan on taking action. And if we want to do a public hearing for that one, you know, just to cover anything,
Yes.
I'm okay with that. That one didn't take very long, and it's probably fair for us to have it, so if you guys can prepare, and let's go ahead and do the public hearing that first meeting in March. And then we'll plan on taking the action by then.
If you get it done sooner, though, I imagine
February.
coordinated
sorry.
February.
I'm sorry, I'm in February. I'm trying to get us out of the winter quicker than, yes, the first meeting in February. I apologize.
And then it can still go to council in February.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, under new business this evening, we do have a public hearing. The public hearing is for conditional use 2418. Did probably not say this right, Denuzo Pool House at 1429 LeChesney Drive. It is zoned R1. It's just over one. The applicant here, just to give us a quick overview, what you guys are requesting, asking for.
Quick overview, just
What's your name?
Nick Schmidt. Quick overview of the project. It is a desired pool house, so those. It sits on the right side off their driveway. What it includes is a great room. A great room and office, a restroom, and then a single car garage. And the bath for access from the pool, eventual pool. Above the living dining and, patio, covered balcony patio. Pantry for storage.
Caleb, would you like to take us through the
Yes.
staff comments?
The applicant is requesting a conditional use for a pool house, which was ruled to be an accessory dwelling unit based on what's actually within the pool house because it's got a great room, an office, a bathroom, a garage, and then it's got that outdoor covered patio. The property is 1 acre and is located in the Versailles subdivision. It's lot 117, which is located off of Highway 72. The property is zoned low density, single family residential, which is R1. The total footprint of the proposed pool house is a little over 15,000 square feet with 1,500, sorry. Hundreds.
Really big pool house.
Really big pool house.
Moving in, if it's that big, all of us are.
And then a little over 1,200 square feet of that is conditioned. So for our Title 14 zoning, an accessory dwelling requires a conditional use. The accessory dwelling will be used to support an in-ground pool that'll be put in at a later time. The zoning information for R1 is included in your packet for you. The property is surrounded by R1 zoning as it's within Versailles subdivision. To the east of that subdivision is county and is outside the city limits. For transportation, the property can be accessed from LeChesney Drive, which is a local road within the Versailles subdivision. Utility, the septic system, used by Centerton Water, the pool house is proposed to connect to the existing septic system and tap into the existing water service line. Centerton Utilities took a look at what they were proposing, did approve what they were proposing in terms of the water line. For parking. That part did not get updated. It has local roads and then they also have their garage. And then for the covenants, the Versailles subdivision has covenants that specify requirements for architectural treatment that must be approved by the subdivision's architectural control committee. And I included that excerpt in the packet, but please note that covenants are a private agreement between the POA and the residents within the subdivision. So it's not enforceable by the city and other than the parts of the covenant that specify the city. And so whether they comply with the covenants or not should not be a part of your guys' decisions. So in terms of conditions, the term of approval recommended for an indefinite period of time from the approval of the planning commission. The approval of the permit will expire within 1 year if construction has not begun and will require reapplication and reapproval. And then for the code, if the building is damaged or destroyed by 50% or more, the conditional use application will be terminated and they'll need a new conditional use application to ensure that it still complies. The POA approval, a set of protective covenants were recorded in Versailles in 2006. Any action by the POA in relation to the covenants would be fully independent of the city's determination on the CUP application. The final determination on this application in no way relieves the responsible party from any provisions or responsibilities to the said covenants. For ADA accessibility, the application is encouraged to provide ADA accommodations. The owner is to accept liability if it's not ADA compliant. And then expiration, we're recommending it be for an extended period of time. And then the general condition budgeting, if there's any complaints where something doesn't comply with this conditional use, it could be brought back and revoked. Happy to answer any questions.
We're gonna sit out on the lot is what I was looking for. I didn't see the site plan.
I don't think we have that.
I had it in there at one
I
point in
don't-
time.
I don't have a site plan.
Diane, can you?
Right.
Yeah.
Got the house plan. but it looks like- Go back.
I know, I had it in there at one point in time.
This is it, the gray. And then did you find it? No, we need everybody to see it.
I'm waiting on some
She had a wonderful little morning.
bicycles.
Pool in here. Well, where's the pool gonna, you might as well just wait. Sorry,
I'm working on it.
it'll be better.
For that.
Here.
Which way are you looking on this?
Yeah. Kind
You want to explain it to
of,
everybody
the
here?
black is the existing house, is that correct?
Correct. And then and obviously access off the Chesney, how they do now. And then we'll just keep going straight to the. Where the hand or the cursor was, this is your, obviously your access to your single car garage. And then walkway through. Got the setbacks.
That answer everybody's question. I mean, it's outside the setbacks. It's.
Yeah, comply with setback.
We do need to open it up to the, if there's no other questions, I'll open it up to the public just in case there's any.
I've got one question.
Yep, go ahead.
On the special conditions term of approval, it's not necessarily related specifically to them, but just in general. We have this if building is damaged by 50% or more, right? I mean, you're gonna start building this relatively soon if it gets approved. Spring comes around, tornado happens, they gotta come all the way back through a conditional use, right? Is there any way for us to put a length of time on if it occurs within X amount of time, they don't have to come back?
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years, we want them to come back. A year from now, I'm not as worried about them coming back in. To save time and for everybody's sake.
Obviously hope that doesn't happen.
Right, no one wants that to happen,
You know,
but we do live in Arkansas.
yes, unfortunately.
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I think I'd be open to it. I mean, I get it. I mean, but is it,
Probably a rare instance.
I don't think I'd go much past construction. I mean, or what I guess what you're saying is, all right, so they start today, tomorrow, and it takes them 9 months. And then 3 months after that, a tornado comes through.
Yeah, now they gotta come all the way back through the process. We're not making that many changes in a year.
They would have to build it identical.
Mhm.
So I would be, I guess that's this is our check and balance. As it exists today, or as they want to, but if it gets destroyed and then they decide, oh, well, we didn't like that design. I'm not saying they wouldn't come back, but they would say, oh, well, you know, what do we need to do? So
That's true.
I don't know. I mean, that's my only thinking, and I get it. But at the end of the day, that is our check and balance, and that's, you know, one of the things we want to make sure that we're okay with. That's my thinking. Does that make sense?
Yeah, fair enough. Moving on.
Okay,
Uh,
good question. though.
is it gonna be a short-term rental?
Money, Joey.
Oh, I don't wanna rent it.
You would need a separate conditional use to be a short-term.
I was just making sure y'all knew that.
Yeah, no, it's just for everyone use.
Kids misbehave, throw them out there or something.
No, I haven't moved in there.
Yeah, I wanna come.
That's your doghouse.
All right, have y'all, it has no bearing on this conversation, but have y'all spoken with the POA or the AC, whatever?
Architectural.
The ACC?
Yeah, we've been in contact. The only thing they're waiting on is the fencing. Plan and all, final fence plan for the pool and all that. That's second.
Cool, no.
Then I would entertain a motion to open a public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Second,
Motion is second to open the public hearing. We are now open to the public. If anyone has any questions, comments, concerns in regards to the application for a pool house at 1429 the Chesney Drive, we'd ask that you come forward, or if anybody happens to be online, ask any questions, comments, or statements. Second call for anyone that wishes to speak. And third and final call.
So Joey, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion in a second. Is anyone opposed? All right. Any additional questions or comments from any of the commissioners? Okay. If not, then I would entertain a motion for conditional use 2418. The Denuzzo Pool House at 1429 the Chesney Drive.
Tony, I make a motion to approve CU 24-18, pool house at 1429 the Chansey Drive.
Craig, I second.
Motion in a second. Diane, will you do the roll call vote for me, please?
Sorry. Tony Davis,
Yes.
Ben Lewis.
Yes.
Greg Langford,
Yes.
John Sessoms,
Yes.
Joey Engel,
Yes.
Brandon Swoboda,
Yes.
and Devin Murphy,
Yes.
and Jeff Safer.
Yes. All right, thank you, guys. Good luck. All right, next on the agenda this evening is track split 2416 at Williamson. It's at 12386 Bullock Road. It is in the county with a parent track of 7.03. Splitting track 1 to 5.76 and track 2 to 1.28. Is the applicant here to give us an overview of what they're requesting?
Yes, and he's been sitting here very patiently. So you should be able to talk now, Dawn. You unmute yourself.
Hey, Don, are you there?
I'm trying. I'll unmute.
Dang it.
There we go.
Hello?
Hey, Don,
Hey, how you doing?
can you just kind of give us an overview of what you're requesting?
Yeah, I just trying to do a track split. Let on 1.2, let's see, 1.275, I think it is, or yeah, I'm just trying to do a track split off my 7.3.
Okay,
Can you hear me? Yeah.
all right. Well, hang
And
tight. You hang tight. We may have some questions for you, okay?
okay.
Sarah, do you want to give us a staff overview?
Yes, so this is the Williamson track split. Also, bear with me, I sound terrible. The Williamson track split off of Bullock Road is in the county. Like you said, it is 7.18 acres and it'll be going from track 4A, which is 5.756 acres, to track 4B, which is 1.275 acres. Bullock Road is designated as a major collector with a planned right of way of 80 feet. 15 feet of right of way will be dedicated with this plat. An existing 25 feet of right of way has been dedicated. An existing 50 feet for Bullock Road. So basically, we wanted to bring it in today to discuss a couple of items we have. Comments. The first item to discuss is the wetlands note. It's a lot of information, so.
You don't have to read it.
You don't have, I don't have
That's
to.
fine. We can see it. Thank you.
If you have questions, let me know.
I want to hear squeak.
Yeah.
Sounds.
I'm so sorry.
I mean, I guess before we continue, I mean, these things are on every plat that we require, correct? Okay.
We've got wetlands, adjacent property owner information, and additional utility easement, right?
That was new to them
It's brand new today.
this afternoon, so.
Okay.
So Don, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Are you in communication with your surveyor on these requirements that the staff is asking for the track split?
Yes, the wetlands is, he can't put he's done him before, I believe, on all of our deals. It's always been, he said, Centerton said the Game and Fish considered that wetlands. Ain't figured that one out yet, but, he can't put, he's not licensed to do that, nor for the sake of let's see how I need to put this. There's never been a problem before on my splits with this deal. Everything has always went through. He's not licensed to do that. He put on there that you all said it was wetlands, and the people that was wanting to buy it was not concerned over anything. They didn't need to on the survey either. Their bank didn't need it either. So the question, I don't know what to do to make. I don't know how to make anything change here for you, because he says he's not qualified nor licensed to put any more than what he put on there. It says it's wetland. I don't know what they want him to do.
It spells it out pretty clearly. He's referencing the online mapping database. He's not specifying that he made the determination. He's only referencing that database. And this is on every plat that comes through the city. it is imperative that the wetlands are shown on there. Maybe this buyer backs out, but the next buyer will care. It's certainly an important piece and,
How
it
come
should,
it's never been on?
it should not be of any surprise to this survey.
I've never had to do any different on the other surveys. When did this all come about? Do you have a date and,
For as
that
long as
we
I can
can-
remember.
well, how come it's never been a problem with all the others that I've done? The
I
other two,
I did sit through the last meeting and I think it was,
April or something.
yeah, it was April on a different, it wasn't one of Williamson's properties, but a same surveyor. They ran into the same issue with wetland. Unfortunately, was discussed with you guys, but then fell through the cracks after the meeting because it was approved. And it got approved and then it never got changed and it got recorded anyway. I want to avoid that from happening. In the past, Williamson never had, like, it fell through the cracks, then got recorded, so it was a never push to get it done. Alan can even state, he has had to say it 3 or 4 times to the surveyor, he's not backing off on it, we're not.
The other thing I always say about it is that he says he's not qualified to make that determination, but he feels qualified to make the floodplain certification note, which is the same thing. You're reading a map from a federal reference, and he makes that note on there. It's making the same note. Is he's not making any determination. He's just, here's what this map from the government says. There it is. And the issue is he's saying the city of Centerton says this is a wetland. Well, no, we don't. And saying that's the same thing is like, and then trying to record it, I find that to be like akin to saying like on there, well, on my survey document, this surveyor made this statement, so I wanted to put it in a note and then signed and sealed it. You're making a certification for someone that's not signing those documents, not making that statement.
So I don't think it's anything new to answer your question, Don. I don't know that I have a date that says it was, call it January 1st of 2014. I don't have that information in front of me. But I'm assuming that if we pulled all of the previous track splits that we have done over the last number of years, they will have all had this information included, because I know that in each one of our meetings, in each one of the discussions, we do bring up all of the wetland information. And so I believe it's been consistent for a number of years. And so I believe it's something that we are going to require. If it happens to be a different surveyor or something else, I don't know that I can solve your problems, but I think in order for us, to approve it, and I'm not speaking for everybody yet, but there's also a time when I have to sign this. And so if it's not complete according to what is required, then I won't sign it as the planning commissioner. And so that's just something that you're going to have to work through with either this surveyor or another surveyor in order to have the necessary information that meets the staff requirements in order for us to approve it.
okay, well, yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying is, but like, I can't get him to do it, so am I gonna lose out all that money for him that and why did my other two, I just had two 2 acres a couple years ago and 2 acres a couple years for that probably. Why did they go through without all this extra trouble?
That's what you were talking about?
I don't.
So
Yeah, I mean, 3 different deals more or less I've went through.
And I can't speak for, I can't speak for that, okay? But as Tara mentioned, I believe one was trying to be rushed. And it's probably hard to hear her on the phone, but as she mentioned, one was rushed and something was missed. And so that doesn't make it right for an additional one. So I based on what happened in the past, we're talking about this particular track split that you're asking for.
Jeff, if I may, I think the other ones, also the comment was made, but then once it was approved or ratified by the planning commission, the surveyor was like, nope, doesn't have to be changed, even though there was still this comment. So that's why for sure on this one, we're bringing it
Yeah.
to you guys for your discussion and approval or denial or.
So you're saying previously their plats were approved contingent on that remaining comment being
Correct.
addressed, and then the surveyor said.
It's approved.
Just done with it.
That makes, did you hear that, Dom? Again, it's
No,
not gonna change.
no.
I don't think it's gonna change our decision this evening.
So, so what am I gonna have to do to make this work? Am I gonna lose out all the money I've already spent when I had? And is there any other deals besides the wetland? Is that the only one? Is there any other problems?
No, there's adjacent property owner labeling and a 15-foot utility easement along the right of way.
And you just added that too, see, because I didn't discuss, we've already discussed it with them, and they told me I give them some extra land already, and now they're wanting 15 more foot after already going through the process of paying all the money and paying another $100 to you guys.
I don't believe there'll be an additional application fee, sir. And it looks like you dedicated right of way. What's being asked is for a utility easement.
Yeah, we went with I agreed to their deal to get that gone through, and now you're adding another deal, a utility deal. So this is a new thing. This has just came up, and I've been started this back in, October or something. And this is a new one. This was a brand new deal they come up with today.
Yes,
This is the
and-
first time we've heard about it.
Now, I did talk to Jim Ramsey this afternoon,
Yeah.
and I did let him know that, yes, this was just brought up today.
The utility.
Wow.
Utility easement.
Utilities. Things are still under.
Addition, in
So-
addition to what's shown?
So basically, we've had in the past, if you'll see, there is a note that says a 15-foot utility easement for a water line that is recorded in deed so-and-so, based on a screenshot. Centerton Utilities actually provided them with the deed for that utility easement that does run along Bullock. What now is the case is we are requesting 15 additional feet of right-of-way, which falls on top of a 15-foot utility easement.
So
So they're requesting, utilities is just requesting an additional 15 feet off of the right-of-way, so they don't sit on top of each other.
the right of way is gonna bump back to the existing 15-foot utility easement. Malcolm needs another 15 behind it for his utilities.
Yes, and
If anything gets developed along that road, we wanna have an easement there. So, and it being county right now and not city. I mean, and then we're not asking them to move the water main, we're only asking them to at least give us an easement that we've already paid.
and this comment wasn't made previously?
This comment was
This comment was made-
previously because the water main was not shown and the existing easement was not shown, even though the document was provided after the first review.
So now that they're showing that 15-foot utility easement, we can clearly see that it is falling on top of the right-of-way easement that we are requesting. Hence why Malcolm has now made the comment about needing the additional 15-foot easement.
Makes sense to me.
And this is the 5th time that this has been split, so it is technically a minor subdivision.
Right now? Is that
No,
not,
it's been split 3 times.
does
It's
that
been
not
3
make
parts.
it, does that
And
kick
it's
it
a
up
minor-
to site improvements?
Because of what they're doing, there's no way to enforce a typical minor site improvement other than to require the right of way and easements.
The way it's being split. Cause those happened in the past and he's doing it in like sections, not all at once.
So Don, what I would recommend is that you have an additional conversation with your surveyor and, I would try to come up with a solution with him on the wetlands. And then, have a discussion with staff in regards to, the utility easement, if there's any additional questions. And of course, there's some additional labeling that needs to be required as well.
That comment is just asking them to have the property owner information for those two south properties that they're showing on their plat.
Do, do any of the commissioners disagree with the discussion this evening, I guess would be my next step.
I don't disagree. I'm certain you've done this, but I mean, have you showed the surveyor like this is the information?
Yes.
It was on, yes.
Comments.
I
went
assumed,
to
but I
the
just-
surveyor, right?
Yes.
Okay,
They're even marked up the plat, how.
okay.
it should be shown.
And I gave, yeah, adjacent properties were given to them, exactly what they needed.
Just in case it was a
Yeah.
lost in translation.
No, they got marked up plats. Mhm.
No, we contacted the surveyor today and asked him to come and he said, no.
So Don, I think hopefully that answers your question. I can't answer your question directly on what's gonna happen from a wetlands perspective, okay? All I can do is give you the information from staff. I can give you the guidance and direction from the commissioners. And of course, we have Public Works that came and gave a little bit of additional context or information around the utility easement that, again, I think there was some previous information that may not have all been correct. And so once additional information came about, which happened to be today, then that's the reason that the additional easement was requested. And so I mean, one of the things we can do tonight is we can table it. If we table it, then that gives you an opportunity to just, once everything's been satisfied, then, you know, we can see it again. And or if we deny it, then does he have to go back through the application process? So I don't think we want to do that. I think our best guidance and direction would be for us to table it this evening.
I do have a question related to that. If we table it, will it go through administrative approvals then at that point? Or will it come back to us? Since it's just if he's met everything, it's just a track split.
I guess that depends. Do you guys want to see it again for approval or would you, is it being admin?
It meets the requirements. I don't know why we would want to see it again.
I just want to make sure,
Clarification.
maybe something to answer to, so.
That's what.
Yeah, we would see it again. Yeah, we would see it again. And so it would give us an opportunity to ask that question.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's a good question.
I didn't know if it would force us to hear it.
That's what what procedurally, what that might end us.
No, I think, you know, as long as it meets, because we don't normally see track splits.
Correct.
Except for the admin approval. And the reason we saw this one was because it was not compliant.
Yeah.
So, with that, at this point, I would entertain a motion to table, I guess, the track split 24-16 based on the information that we were provided this evening.
Okay. I will, I guess talk with him, but I also sent her Tara, a survey that was done in May with the same wording that this has on the wetland, and it approved it too, just right down the road. And I sent her the copy, emailed her a copy of the deal of the survey that Jim did, and it was approved. And all mine had been approved before, and there's one right down the road in May of last year. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out how to make this go. But one more question is, how many feet off the road are they asking for now? I mean, total. I'm not clear on what it's changed again. So it was at 40 foot. Are they asking now for 55 foot?
So the right of way that we are requesting, since there is what is like an existing 25 feet because Bullock is already 50 feet. We're just requesting 15 additional feet of right of way and then a 15-foot utility easement, and the right of way is an easement as well.
Because it's in the county.
Because it's in the county.
But for his math that he was just doing,
30.
it's only 30.
Correct.
It's only 30, Don.
So they're not
30
asking to
from-
own it. You'll still own all that land. It's just an easement. So if that water line needs to be enlarged and expanded because more development goes in, it has a place for that line to be installed. So that's all that's looking for. You still own it. It's not taking anything from you at all.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I get that. I just can't do nothing with it, but I understand that. And if I was willing to go another deal on that, is there anything we can do? I mean, it's actually stated that y'all said it was wetland. I just can't get him to do exactly state it like he's saying it's wetlands or whatever. I can't get him to do that. So I'm trying to figure out how not to lose all the money that I put into this already. And I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just trying to figure out a way to, if I give up another 15 foot, is there any way? I mean, it's stated on there, right? It talks about that it says it's wetland or considered wetlands by Game and Fish, right?
Don, I don't know that myself or the commissioners or staff will be able to fully answer that question in regards to any sort of, money recovery or how it's going to happen. But I believe the commissioners, as we've requested on many other, actually all of the ones that we see, we don't allow for that to pass through without that being on there. And from what I understand, without all the details, based on what I've been given this evening, is some may have been approved with conditions, and those conditions may not have all been met, and then things get filed. And so our method this evening to make sure that it is on here is for the language that's been provided to be on the survey in order for the commission and or the staff to approve it with our permission.
Okay. Then he has does Jim have the wording that you want on there? Does he
Yes.
have that?
He does.
Okay. And
He has all of this information.
The lady said that she talked to him earlier today and he told her that to ask if I don't know if it's called Alta, I think it's called, or there's people that do the surveys over the federal or state people, if they said it was okay for him to do that he would do that. So does she contact him or the people or what? How do I figure this out? Do you happen to know that?
We did speak to him and we also reviewed the Alta survey information that he said he goes by. There is in there with the standards of practice that if, I'll read it verbatim. Can I steal this from you?
Yeah.
Tara. That it is not the intent of these standards to limit application of more stringent standards as required by code, ordinance, or contractual specifications. It is the responsibility of the professional surveyors to stay informed on current rules and regulations pertaining to the practice of land surveying. So if the city does have requirements that are above and beyond the basic Alta surveyor, since it is an actual recorded plat, that is allowable. Must
Okay.
follow that.
Okay. All right. Well, I will try to see if I can get him to do that. And do you guys work with other surveyors that would do what you're asking, that you could maybe tell me a name? I don't. Okay, and Casey ain't gonna do it because I'm the one that's in the middle and I'm just trying to get things done. I'm not a confrontational argument or anything. I'm just trying.
I don't think we can recommend anyone.
Okay.
We can provide a list of other surveyors and engineers in the area, but we can't recommend anyone.
Yep. Okay.
So yes, if you were to ask them, they would be able to give you a list of available folks to talk to.
Okay,
Again, I think our best action tonight is for us to table this, and it should help the process so that you don't have to start over again, okay?
okay. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
So with that, I would entertain a motion to table track split 2416.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anyone that's opposed? All right, thank you, guys. All right, next on the agenda this evening is an update on sewer capacity and ADH approval concerns. How are you tonight?
All right, Malcolm Atwood, I'm the Director of Centerton Utilities. I'll read you, I guess. This is perfect time. I received a letter from the Health Department December 23rd, and then I went out of the country for a week and a half, and then I'll read y'all the latest letter we received. The first comment provided by ADH is that the Decatur wastewater treatment plant currently has no available capacity for additional wastewater flows. The ADH cannot approve plans and specifications for projects that will add wastewater flow to the Decatur wastewater treatment plant at this time. Once plans and specifications for improvements to the Decatur wastewater treatment plant are approved by this office, plans for projects that will provide additional flow to the Decatur plant may be reviewed and approved. While this will allow concurrent construction, a condition of approval will be that the public water system will not be allowed to provide service to the development until more capacity at the Decatur wastewater treatment plant is available.
So who else uses Decatur besides us?
Highfield goes through us, and then the Simmons is a large user in Decatur, but just us.
So what are the plans from them, I guess, to improve?
Decatur's trying to go through a system analysis of their plant to see if they can get a upgraded permit to allow more effluent to come into it. So that's what they're working on right now. They currently have 18 million allocated for wastewater treatment plant improvements. I think 11.5 million is for the headworks, and 6.5, 7 is for the process inside the plant. So
And what's timing look like?
they have as soon as possible. The headworks, I think as soon as possible. That's the first thing they're gonna start construction on. Second thing is the internals with that money. Before that, they're gonna try to work on their permit to get it increased.
When do they, have you had conversations on when they're gonna submit the permit, or?
They haven't given us timing. Their engineer says they're working on it. They're working on it. So, I mean, it could be a month, it could be a few months. I'm not sure. They won't give us an exact date.
Is there a plan B?
Yes, we've reached out to other entities to see what our options are as far as connecting and allowing us to go in a different route. So we approached them before the Christmas, New Year's break. They were going on vacation as well, but we have talked to other entities in the area.
You're referring to NACA?
I'm referring to Bittendorf.
All right. Any other questions? We may request additional updates, I guess.
Yeah, it's fine. I expect it.
Regular basis, because it'll determine what we.
I don't mind. Yeah, I come once a month. Or once we get significant updates. I know we're city council has a lot of questions for us. We're working on that right now for the city council meeting on Tuesday. We have a big packet. I have no problem submitting that to you as well, so y'all can go through kind of their questions and response that we're providing. So part of that's in there.
We'll upload that to our Dropbox, so we have it. And then, yeah, that'll work.
We initially, there's a meeting, Monday with, I'm sure y'all have heard by now, but it kind of grew into something larger than what we initially expected, and not as much got accomplished. We're hoping to get another meeting. Senator Hester said in 30 days, but also he advised me to set up a meeting with him and a few other individuals in Little Rock, maybe a little more, get our I know concerns and thoughts, I guess, conveyed a little bit better to the parties that need to be there, need to know. We plan on doing that as well.
Okay.
We're searching every avenue we can. I've already talked to him about it a few times.
To be fair, this isn't the only community in this region that has that problem.
So the presentation that showed out of all the municipalities that have sewer collection systems in Washington, Benton County, over 50% are experiencing issues right now. And over a third of the projects going through ADH's desk right now are coming out of Washington and Benton counties. And we're a lot of that. I received every letter, it pretty much stated the same thing for every project that's going on right now in Centerton in the last, it's today, and I probably had 6 envelopes, 25 different letters.
All right. Thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
Good luck.
Thanks, I'll need it.
What does that mean for us for approving projects at the planning commission level?
No, no new projects, just. I guess it's kind of y'all's call.
Yeah.
You're not gonna get ADH approval, ADH.
I guess my thought process is, some take longer than others, obviously. I mean, I think it needs to be, and I'm sure most developers at this point know or understand. But if that process takes 3 months, if it takes 6 months, if it takes 9 months to just get through the development process, if you will, I hate for them to be delayed on that.
I mean, they could do everything but have the ADH approval. And then technically that wouldn't be an extension that they request because they've never got full approval. However, they are out the capital, to do that design. They're paying interest on land. I don't know how many people are interested in getting to that point.
Few,
Are they?
we don't want to stop, even with this.
Yeah, and I think it's, when the water was an issue, we didn't stop necessarily, right? I mean, even though we had to wait, I mean, there were things that were approved and had to wait, is that correct? Or not?
That was prior to me.
Given conditional approvals?
You said they would, yes, if, but,
Right.
so.
We have one now that wants to final plat and start to go vertical, but can't. They already started, after signing the letter saying, okay, we understand that we're doing this at our own risk, but there's 4
3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
3 or 4 that are currently in construction building and they're gonna hit a wall.
Best case scenario, 3 months, I'd say. Worst case, I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I think we just, I, at this point, because I would say preliminary. I would not stop necessarily, but I think the awareness needs to be there in all the discussions up front. And I don't know if that's a letter from Malcolm or if it's a letter from, and the letter from ADH or whatever it is, whatever would be public information, I think should be shared, at least for them to understand.
Provide the ADH letter, is gonna copy the wording, but I'm pretty sure every project has received the letter within the last 3 days.
Okay. So I think until we have more definitive information from Decatur and or any other municipalities that we might be able to work with, then I wouldn't necessarily recommend stopping. I mean, at some point, if we get a letter from Decatur that says, here the timeline is 18 months, then I think it's a different discussion that we should consider having.
Other entities have capacity to accept this, I mean, we'll start on construction as soon as we can get the plans developed. But it's a matter of having those talks with those people.
We don't want our own.
You're not getting one.
Tried it a few years.
I'm just asking.
Tried it a few years ago and they denied us, and even in that meeting on Monday, they wouldn't give a straight answer, but I don't think there's any way they'll allow a new wastewater treatment plant in Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, they've,
We gotta think of too, a good point is where would the water go? It's gonna go to Illinois.
We don't drain back to the basin that we get our water from.
We got to build a pipeline to the Arkansas River and that was an idea proposed a while back.
Yeah.
That's the only place besides going west right now.
All right, well, good luck. Thanks for the update.
Thanks, guys.
There are announcements. Make sure that you get your statement of financial interest in which you've received at least 2 emails. Samantha will have her stamp next time, so unless you wanted to stop by and see Mr. Rabel or somebody that would provide a service.
We do have other notaries at City Hall if.
Make sure you turn that in. There's a council meeting on the 14th. The next planning commission meeting is the 21st. Let us know if you cannot be here. And anything else from staff? We did receive a number of applicants for the open position, and so I haven't had a chance to review them yet. And so we'll be through that process in probably the next, honestly, 2 weeks. In order to make a decision on the commissioner. So want to let you guys know on that as well.
They are in Dropbox for any of y'all to review also.
And with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move. Second.
Motion is second. Is anyone opposed? Thank you, guys.